If you've ever wanted to one-shot headshot enemies without them ever knowing you're there, this is the build that does it. This build uses the V.A.T.S system to dominate the battlefield and keep enemies at bay. Here's how it works. We'll build the special stats first, then tag the skills that we actually need, then stack perks and implants until the Gobi Scout Rifle one-shots everything. First up, specials. We'll set our strength to 6, which is just enough to wield the heavy rifles. You could dump more into strength, but that's unnecessary because the rifles we're using don't have huge requirements, and we'd be wasting points that are better spent elsewhere. If you want to use the anti-material rifle later though, you can grab the weapons handling perk, which lets you reach higher requirements without touching your strength stat. We'll be setting our perception to 9 because perception allows us to see enemies on our compass, which will give us a heads up when danger's ahead. Perception also affects some dialogue options, but for our sniper build, the main value is spotting the enemies before they get to you. We'll be setting our endurance to 4, our charisma to 1, and our intelligence to 2. They're all pretty low because we don't really need them. We're not tanking damage or relying on dialogue or skill points early, so these are basically wasted stats for this build. We're going to be focusing on everything that is sniper related. We're going to be setting our agility to 9 because agility determines how many action points we have, and that in turn will allow us to take more shots in V.A.T.S. This is why agility is more important than intelligence or charisma for our sniper build. It's all about controlling the battlefield from a distance using our AP and V.A.T.S. And we'll set our luck to 9 because more luck equals a higher crit chance. And if you combine that with the right perks, even tough enemies melt within a single shot. And now that our specials are set, let's pick the skills that will give us an early boost. When tagging our skills, we want to select Lockpick, which will not only help us get the late game rifle, but it'll also let us pick chests and doors along the way, which will lead us to get more ammo, mods, or other useful gear. Next, we're going to select Repair, which will allow us to get the Jury Rigging perk, which makes weapons easier to maintain. Repair will let us keep our weapons at peak performance without constantly spinning caps to fix them. And for our third tagged skill, we're going to select Sneak, which will allow us to position ourselves, avoid getting spotted, and score those crucial headshots before enemies even know we're there. And even if you mess up a few sneak attacks, the combination of perks and weapons will keep you deadly. Just make sure that you're increasing these skills as you level up alongside your gun skill, because these are the core skills of this build. With your tagged skills set, it's time to choose traits that maximize your efficiency in combat. The first trait we're going to pick is Trigger Discipline because it adds a flat bonus to V.A.T.S accuracy, meaning you're more likely to hit the enemy. And since this is a sniper build, every shot counts. The next trait we're going to pick is Built to Destroy. This perk increases your chance to critically hit an enemy. And if you combine this with high luck and perks like Finesse, you'll be killing enemies in one shot consistently. And yes, your weapons will wear down faster, but with the Repair and Jury Rigging perk, that's a minor inconvenience. And now that our specials and skills are set, let's talk about perks, the abilities that turn this build into a one-shot machine. There are 6 core perks that define the sniper build, and they include Better Criticals, Commando, Finesse, Grim Reaper's Sprint, Light Touch, and Sniper. These are the perks that will make every shot count, every encounter deadly, and every V.A.T.S attack devastating. Better Criticals will increase our critical damage by 50%, making those headshots truly lethal. Commando will increase rifle accuracy in V.A.T.S, which is perfect for this build. Finesse will give us a flat bonus to our critical chance, stacking with other effects for insane damage potential. And then Grim Reaper's Sprint will allow us to gain 20 AP points every time we kill an enemy in V.A.T.S. And then one of the better perks for this build is Light Touch, which gives us an increase to our critical chance while wearing light armor. And this will stack well with the gear we will be wearing later on. And it wouldn't be a sniper build without the Sniper perk, which increases our chance to land a headshot in V.A.T.S. And of course, there are other perks you can pick along the way to further enhance your build, but these 6 are the backbone. Everything else we add just stacks on top to make you unstoppable. Next up are implants. This is the secret that will help take your sniper build to the next level. We're going to max out perception, agility, and luck with implants, giving you a perfect 10 in each. Taking the perception implant will ensure that we always know where enemies are located. And then by taking the agility implant, we'll have extra AP to fire off even more shots in V.A.T.S. And then finally, by taking the luck implant, it will allow us to land more critical hits and dominate any enemies we come across. Stacking these implants with our chosen special stats and perks makes our sniper not just powerful, but surgically precise. And now that your stats, skills, perks, and implants are optimized, the next step is choosing companions to complement your sniper build. The right partners can make your playthrough even more deadly. First up, we have Boone and Eddie. Boone's perk highlights enemies when you aim down sights, while Eddie's perk lets you target cloaked enemies in V.A.T.S, which is pretty useful when fighting Nightkin. This combo is perfect if you want want companions that will help pick off enemies at a distance. The next companion combo is Rex and Lily. Rex's perk makes consumables glow, which isn't that useful for this build, but he can help keep enemies away from you by fighting them in melee combat. And Lily's perk boosts sneak attack criticals by 10%, and she can also help keep enemies at bay by fighting them in melee. This setup is great for stopping enemies from closing in on you, letting you stay safely behind cover. And then the final companion setup, which I honestly prefer over the others, is Eddie and Lily. Combining Eddie's cloak targeting with Lily's sneak attack bonuses gives you the best of both worlds. For a sniper build, this duo maximizes your kill potential while keeping you safe. With this setup, your V.A.T.S shots are even more lethal, and you don't have to worry about being flanked. Your companions cover both ranged and close range threats. And now that we've covered stats, perks, implants, and companions, let's talk about gear progression. We'll start with early game gear because starting off strong makes the rest of the game easier. As far as weapons, you'll want to start off with the varmint rifle, which you can get by talking to Sunny Smiles during the starting quest. It's a fantastic early game rifle. As far as armor goes early on, any armor will work, because you're not really going to be focusing on your raw damage protection, instead you're going to be sneaking around a lot. Even light leather or scavenged outfits will do until you get your mid-game armor set. Keep in mind that sneaking is your best friend as a sniper, so make sure you do it often. And you won't be as accurate in V.A.T.S early on, so only use V.A.T.S whenever there's a good chance that you will land the shot. With that said, let's move on to the mid-game build. Once you've leveled up a bit, your build really starts to shine. As far as weapons, you're going to want to upgrade to the hunting rifle for more damage and range. This weapon is reliable and scales well until you unlock your late game weapon. If you're having trouble finding a hunting rifle, there is one located to the north of the H&H factory at the top of the map. It'll be located just outside of an unmarked house. Just keep in mind that it will be severely damaged and you'll need to repair it. When it comes to armor, you're going to want to grab the Vault 34 armor from inside Vault 34. This is a pretty good set of light armor because it gives a decent damage threshold. You're also going to want to grab a first recon beret, which you can get from Boone after completing his recruitment quest. These two pieces of gear give a good balance of damage protection, and the beret actually increases your crit chance. Mid-game is when you can start actually using V.A.T.S and chaining your shots. Your sneak attacks are especially deadly, and enemies won't even know what hit them. And then finally, we reach the in-game gear, where your sniper truly dominates. When it comes to weapons, we're going to want to get the Gobi Scout Rifle, because its fire rate and crit chance are unmatched for sniping. You can get this weapon by going to the Sniper's Nest next to Cottonwood Cove and picking the Very Hard Lock. This is why we tagged lockpicking early on, because we want to get our lockpicking skill to 100 so that we can actually get this rifle. If you want even more firepower though, you can always get the anti-material rifle from the Gunrunners. However, the strength requirement is a little higher, but if you have the weapons handling perk, you can actually use the anti-material rifle with this build. And then for our final set of armor, we're going to continue using the first recon beret, but we're also going to need to grab Ulysses' Duster, which you can get from the Lonesome Road DLC. This gear paired with the Light Touch perk makes for insane critical hit chances. At this point in the game, every V.A.T.S shot should be a kill, and if you pair it with your companion duo Eddie and Lily, or the companions of your choice, you'll control the battlefield with near total safety. And now that we know what gear we're going to be using, let's talk about some consumables that we can use to make this build even more powerful. We're going to be using the True Police Stories magazine, because this magazine increases our critical hit chance by 5% for 1 minute. This stacks perfectly with the rest of the build. We can also use Psycho to increase our raw weapon damage by up to 25%. It's best to use these consumables right before a tough encounter so that enemies melt before they even get close. That's it for the build. See ya.